Which is Entrepreneurship Center, the Startup Accelerator, providing mentorship and consultancy to startups and business ready growing entrepreneurs.
spent the whole night in a vigil of arms, kneeling before her. At dawn, he offered his sword and dagger to Our Lady and left them hang on the walls of the chapel. He went from being a romantic knight in the service of an earthly king to a spirit-filled warrior in the service of the heavenly king. This was the very inception of the Jesuit mission. At dawn, he offered his sword and dagger to Our Lady and left them hang on the walls of the chapel. He went from being a Loyola Academy was founded by Reverend Father D.J. Balaya SG in the year 1976. It developed into a degree college in 1978 and achieved autonomy in 1992. It developed into a PG college in 1993 and gained autonomy in 2010. Loyola Academy is blessed with a fairly spacious campus of about 134 acres of land with playfields and a research farm. It is affiliated to the prestigious Usman University. Appreciating the achievements and the quantitative pursuit of higher educational needs, the University Grants Commission has been awarding Loyola Academy a rare status known as the College with Potential Excellence since the year 2008. In addition to this, the National Assessment and Accreditation Council accredited this college in 2005 and re-accredited in 2011 for the second time and awarded A grade in recognition of its excellent contribution to the cause of higher education. In addition to this, the National Assessment and Accreditation Council accredited this college in 2005 and re-accredited in 2011 for the second time and awarded A grade in recognition of its excellent contribution. The vision of Loyola Academy is to impart higher education with ethical formation which involves academic excellence, spiritual growth, social commitment, and value-based leadership. Loyola Academy achieves this vision through a more integrated formation, academics and spirituality, as well as through value-based training and social commitment. It also does so by creating an ambience for the Ignatian pedagogy paradigm, namely learning, experience, reflection, and action. At the heart of the Jesuit educational ideal is the community care for the integral development of students. All stakeholders, that is faculty, staff, administration, and board members, play a crucial role in the student development. In their relationship with the students, faculty and staff innovatively model what they value the most. In communicating those values, they act as mentors to their students.
Morning and Jai Hind everyone. We are the cadet of National Cadet Corps 25 Community Loyal Academy Degree and PG College. Our aim is to uphold the unity of India and to be the disciplined and responsible citizen of our nation. Loyola Academy has indeed helped us to develop a character, comradeship, discipline, leadership, and ideals of selfless service to the nation. To begin with the highest achievement of our college, Senior Under Officer Syed Sohail from the Department of Mass Comm was a part of youth exchange program held at Singapore. And our ANO of our college, Lieutenant S. Uma Maheshwar Rao, and for the principal, vice principal and other faculty of this college has given us enough support and strength to be the better workforce engine for the world and for the nation. And we hope to be the best of the nation. Thank you and have Jai Hind.
Hi, this is Gurjot Singh, the NSS Secretary of this college. Our NSS coordinator, Mrs. Ratnamani ma'am, has given this opportunity us to do the social awareness program in and outside the college. We have conducted many social awareness programs in the college like blood donation camps and rallies and Swasthya Abhiyan program which was recently done. We thank college to giving this opportunity and supporting us. Thank you.
I am Mohammed Ibrahim of Magic Cube. I am the first lead of Magic Cube and I am from Psychology Department. Magic Cube means men and women aiming for greater initiative with change. It was initiated by Father Bala Bulineni of part of SJ, that is Youth Empowering Service in Vijayawada, London, followed by here in our college, Loyola Academy Degree in PG College on September 25th, 2018. It is meant to help people on a humanitarian basis. It has organized events like humanitarian and social play and acted as a drama. there's a lot of scope in this to help people. I thank Mamta ma'am and Grace ma'am, Dean of Student Activities and Dean of Student Affairs. I thank Father Anthony, Principal of this college, and Father Vice Principal, Father Balaswamy SG, to give us such an opportunity to help others and be responsible leaders. I thank Mamta ma'am.
Hello, I am Rachel from MEL. I am a part of Women Empowerment Cell, which is being coordinated by Sailaja ma'am. Women empowerment is a process that creates power in women over their lives, society, and in their communities. We try conveying the message that women are not meant to be stamped upon, instead, stamp upon every negative that is pulling us back and rise up to the best version of us.
I'm George, the head boy, and she's Ananya, the head girl.
We are the student representatives of Laila Academy.
We coordinate among the members of the Student Council, and we act as liaisons between the college and the Student Council. To speak about the Student Council is an elite leadership body consisting of students who've been chosen for their loyalty to the college, dedication, academic performance, eloquence, presence of mind, and willingness to participate and serve in college activities. The Student Council in UG this year had a strength of about 66, and the PT Council had a strength of about 34. The Student Council members are formally sworn in on the day of the university to serve me by the patrons of the college. The members of the Student Council are very diligent and they exhibit utmost responsibility in discharging their valuable services towards the college.
We have been molded to have the attitude of servant leadership, while we are encouraged to use our creative knowledge in visualizing and adapting to new trends for the better growth of our college. Round the clock, the Student Council foresees, plans and organizes events. We put in 100% effort to make sure that every event turns out to be successful. We are guided and supported by Reverend Father Dr. P. Anthony, our principal, Reverend Father D. Balaswamy, our vice principal, and Mrs. Mamta Rani, the Dean of Student Activities.
Hi, I'm Ash. I'm a basketball player from Loyola. Our college team wins a lot of tournaments. We've been winning OU since the last 9 years. We win Sakshi every year. We had gone to MP to represent the state and we stood third. That's all because of our coach, Mr. Amrut Raj. Also, in our college, people play a lot of other sports like cricket, volleyball, and kabaddi. This sports has become a craze in Loyola all because of our PH sir, Mr. Sandeep Reddy.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. I've joined.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries and the resource person and the participants of today's workshop on research innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship, and startups on a campus, which is conducted by Loyola Academy in association with the Telangana Academy of Skills and Knowledge, Government of Telangana. First of all, I, IQC Coordinator Sai Prasad, greatly thankful to our beloved principal, Reverend Father Dr. L. George Reddy SJ, for giving me this permission to conduct this workshop on this particular day. I also thank Dr. Nandita Seth Madam for accepting our invitation and then being a resource person for today's workshop. I also thank Sanjay Sinha Sahib, CEO, Task, Telangana Government. We begin this workshop with the small prayer.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the gift of life today. You allow us to have another day to praise you and see your glory. Thank you for the love and protection, especially this time of pandemic. Bless us, Father, with your wisdom as we begin our class. Help us to focus our hearts and minds on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit as we think and listen. Guide us by your eternal light as we discover more about the world around us. Lord, we thank you and let your will be done in our lives. We ask all this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
I will be pleased to inform you that under the leadership of Dr. Reverend Father Dr. L. George Reddy SJ, we have been listed recently in NARF 2021 rankings. Out of 150 plus colleges participating from Telangana, only 3 colleges have secured the place in that, and Loyola Academy is one among that. Now I request our coordinator to just have a small audio visual regarding our college. Okay, that is already shown, it seems. So now I request our beloved principal, Reverend Father Dr. L. George Reddy S.J. to bless the gathering.
Our esteemed chief guest, speaker and resource person, Dr. Nandita Sethi Garu, founder, managing director, the Entrepreneurship Zone, and Telangana State Council of Higher Education, and our professor, Mr. Sai Prasad Garu, who is tirelessly working for this institution round the clock, organizing seminars, workshops, international seminars, and bringing the quality to college. Dean of Academics, various other deans, Dean of Science, Dean of Arts, Dean of Commerce, HODs, and dear staff members, good afternoon to each and every one of you. To say this afternoon, we are drowning in information, but starving for knowledge. It's very true. We know very well in India, we have around 50,000 colleges. And 50,000 colleges every day teaching few millions of students. But what is the outcome? Hardly we know anything. Yes, knowledge is, information is pumped. Tons and tons of information is pumped. But how much knowledge is really gained by the students? And how much knowledge is converted into actions? And these days, dear teaching staff, we should be aware that knowledge is very, very important. And what is the parameter that we arrived at this knowledge? Only through research. Only through research and development, we can arrive at this knowledge. Research is the most important thing in order to unravel the beauty of the nature, in order to unravel the hidden information, in order to unravel many precious things. And that's why this workshop. And definitely, we have the right person here who is going to enlighten us in research, innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship, in the name of Dr. Nandita Sethi Garu. And we are really happy to have her here. Thank you, madam, for accepting our invitation, for enlightening this workshop. Thanks a lot for coming to this conference. We wish you all luck. And at the same time, I thank all the organizers of Loyola Academy, particularly the IQAC coordinators team, for organizing this seminar. God bless each and every one of you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Father. That was a kind listening from you. In the year 1969, after completion of BSc Chemistry, a person from Gujarat started doing a job in Arvind Mills, old Arvind Mills. Then afterwards, because of its caliber, he has joined Gujarat State Mineral Development Corporation. But he was not satisfied with his job or whatever is it. He wants to do something to the society. So he had a serious survey of what project has to be started, how it has to be started, where it has to be started, and what is the requirement of the finance, everything. He was an extremely ordinary man. So after making a lot of inquiries and surveys and coming to conclusions, he has started in his own house in the backyard, 10:12, a small startup company which produces phosphate-free detergents. And then he was the only person who is responsible for conveying that materials to the market. Because those days, the market was dominated by multinational companies such as Hindustan Unilever Limited, now it is called as Unilever Limited, and Procter and Gamble, and the brand names were Surf, etc., etc., which was having a top-down approach in their product. But this man, he has adopted a technique from bottom to top. Means what? He wants to attract people who are from bottom sections, lower middle class and extremely lower middle class. But the retailers were not in a position to accept his product. Then again, there is a flop show is there. The movement of the product in the market was very difficult. Then again, he started investigating what is the reason behind it. And then he has asked all the retailers to give his product back. And then started an advertisement called as washing powder Nirma, washing powder Nirma. That advertisement has gone to such an extent that people started asking for the product, which the retailers were not having. And ultimately, there was an enormous pressure was there on the person to give the product. And now he is in a position to dictate the market. He is able to move the product in the market freely. And today, with his hard work and then ideas, everything, 20 to 30% of the world detergent market is held by this company. My dear participant, I was talking about the startup Taiga of Karsanbhai Patel, who started Nirma company. Like this today, we all have come together to understand what is research innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship, and startups, how we are supposed to develop the technologies in our college level and then try to scale up to a large scale level, and what are the difficulties which you're going to face. All the methodologies will be explained in detail to us by today's honorable resource person, Dr. Nandita Sethi. Madam, I welcome you in our midst. Now I request Dr. Amaladas sir to spell out the biodata of Dr. Nandini Seth. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to everyone. I would like to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Nandita Seth. She is the founder and MD of the Entrepreneur Zone, which is an entrepreneurship development center and a startup accelerator providing mentorship and consultancy to startups and business. She obtained master's degree in economics and a doctorate in international trade. With around 28 years of experience, she has consulted and trained in several corporates and top and middle management levels on global markets, business environment, corporate reforms, marketing trends, strategy and leadership, entrepreneurships and entrepreneurships. She has authored the book, The Asia Pacific Region, Emerging Opportunities for India, and edited the books, Global Meltdown, Regional Impacts, and Rethinking India Growth Strategy. Services was manufacturing both Volume 1 and Volume 2. She started and was the editor of IPE, Journal of International Economics, and she's on several editorial boards. Since 2015, she is mentoring and consulting startups and growing entrepreneurs through her organization TESS, which runs accelerated programs to help startups, small and medium-sized companies. She has been awarded the TIE Best Mentor Award in the year of 2016 in the TIE ISB Connect and Endowed Business Excellence Award in November 2019 and the Confederation of Women Entrepreneurship of India Excellence Award in the March 2021. She was the chairperson of Confederation of India Industry, Indian Women Network, Telangana, which helps women professionals and entrepreneurs with knowledge-based programs and assist in formulating policies related to working women. She is also a TEDx speaker. Her organization, the Entrepreneur Zone, has been judged as the top 10 startup consultant organization in India. Today, our mission is to integrate entrepreneurship training deeply into the existing educational system so that we see more startup activities on campuses and create a culture and thinking which is highly entrepreneurial. With these introductions, we all welcome you, madam, to deliver your lectures and enlighten us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Let me just start with thanking all of you for having me here. So my first thanks to Reverend Father Dr. Joji Reddy, SJ. Thank you, Father, for this invitation. Thanks to Coordinator Dr. Sai Prasad, and also Dr. Zakir Hussain, who was coordinating with me throughout, and the Telangana State Council of Higher Education, all faculty and staff of and students of Loyola College. Thank you all for having me here. So I'm just going to start with a very interesting statement which Father made. We are all drowning in information and starving in knowledge. So very relevant today, because we get terabytes of information from morning till evening, so much that we cannot handle it. And so much that we are actually losing focus. And so therefore, as an educational institution, I'm sure many of you are faculties here. I'm sure you see that our role is now no more as an information provider. And we are not here to provide information, because information is something that is blasting all around us, bombarding all around us. And as he rightly said, we are drowning in that. But actually, when you start digging into this, digging into the tunnel of information, you will find lots of it. But actually, when you start finding knowledge, barely you will find any of it. So that's my starting point, which was given by the principal. And I would like to take it up from there. It's very interesting that I think, before I start my presentation, as faculty and also as parents, maybe, I'm sure our mind is so preconceived to the idea that our children, our students, our youngsters have to study only to get a job. And the primary reason why everybody is studying is that ultimately we get a good degree and then we get a job. So we have been fed on this diet from the time we are born, so much so that I'm sure in all our ears, this one line must be always ringing: if you don't study well, you will not get a job. This is a threatening statement that comes from home, from parents, from teachers, from friends, from family. If you don't study well, you will not get a job. And so we are like, this one line becomes so prophetic for us that we need to study well only to get a job. And we do not even see that there is anything other than this. This whole environment is such, and not just our family and friends and educational institutions, but I would say the country in general. Sir, kindly tell me if my voice is coming fine.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's absolutely.
Loud and clear? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would request everyone to be on mute. Yeah. So what happens is that this line is always there behind us. If you don't study well, you will not get a job. And this becomes so sometimes so overpowering, that even as teachers, we tell our students the same sentence, and the same sentence gets so much into our DNA that we don't even see outside the box. So this is the first thing I think when I go anywhere, I say that as teachers, we have a moral and great social responsibility that we do not tell our children, our students, that this is the only thing in life. I know it's a competitive world, and what we are doing is not that we are cutting down on their efficiency and performance, what we are doing is we are making them, think on a single line. And that is where we have done wrong. Not just as people in the teaching profession, but also as a country, we have done wrong, is that we have not nurtured our entrepreneurs the way some countries did. And therefore, as a starting note, if you compare India with other countries, those countries, and only those countries which really encourage the entrepreneurs, are all those countries which are having high growth rates in their high income growth rates, high growth rate in the country per se. And those who did not are the ones who are having a very slow growth rate. So this, because entrepreneurs basically are wealth creators. The second reason why I think this becomes so relevant today is that we are heading towards a 300 million labor force, and only 100 million jobs. So there's going to be a 200 million job gap. What are we going to do? No matter how good we are in our education, no matter how good placements we have, but this is a reality. And if you look at the future, more and more jobs are getting automated. More and more, the world is becoming more and more digital, automated. There's artificial intelligence, there is robotics. So what's going to happen to people? Those people will be relevant who can change with times. Those people will be relevant who can think creatively, and not those people will be relevant who will be doing things which a normal artificial intelligence, a robot cannot do. So having said this, what is important for us as a country and as an educational institution is that we start completely thinking differently. And that's the reason why the country has also started this whole scheme, Startup India, Stand Up India, Digital India, Make in India. It's because everybody has to think differently, because from every college and every school, we need entrepreneurs. We don't need people looking for jobs. We need people who can create jobs. And that's where the whole narrative starts. So having said this, how do we go backwards? What is understood is that we need entrepreneurs, and a lot of them, because we have very few in our country, because we haven't nurtured them, both as a country and both as educational institutions as well. But what we need now is to look back and say, yes, we need more entrepreneurs. So what do we do about our research? What do we do about our education system? What do we do about nurturing innovations? And how do we nurture startups on campus? So that's going to be my starting point. And just let me share. Can you allow me to share the presentation? Whoever is the administrator. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And now it's there. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Let me just take it to the beginning. Yes. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We can see.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about research, innovation, incubation, and startups. And, just to again give you a little context, just imagine how your day starts. And if you start thinking how your day starts, I'm sure you'll think the first thing you do is you start by saying, who has messaged me? And then you probably, if you look at these youngsters today, I mean, we are still used to newspapers, but if you look at youngsters, they would probably go on this in shorts to read the news. What's the, breaking news today? And then probably you find that you need something at home. And so you do an ordering on Big Basket. And what do you see? Maybe now COVID times and you need some immune booster. So you would go to a Practo. And then probably you need to go to office. So you order a cab on Uber. And then if you are a student, you're probably accessing a program other than your studies on Byju's. You may be hungry at lunchtime, you may be ordering your food at Swiggy or Zomato. And you may be paying up for what you're buying through a payment gateway or through Google Pay. You may be bored watching a movie. Just track your day. Just track your day. and you may be opening a Netflix or a Prime Video. And this searching you do throughout the day, anything I'm saying now, you would probably already be searching on a Google right now. And then we are right now sitting in front of you, all of us from different parts of maybe Hyderabad or different parts of even the country or even the globe, attending on something called a Zoom. And then some of us may be playing a game, for all you know, bored with this lecture. And of course, we connect with each other on Facebook. And by the end of the day, we probably may be putting our opinions on a tweet. Now, just look at all of this. Just look at all of this. Your day is sorted and your day is being monitored and regulated by a whole lot of startups. And you need to thank each one of them, because we are meeting each other on Zoom today, and we probably connected over, over Gmail, and we probably messaged. I did message, I think, Dr. Zakir that I will join up, and he sent me a link on WhatsApp. So just look at all this, how sorted our life is and how easy it has become, but for startups. So this is all the story of startups and their role in our life today. And it is that important. And yet, our educational institutions are still going by, if you don't study well, you will not get a job. So just look at this statement, which was made way back in 2013, more than 7-8 years back. Becoming a startup nation, India must pay attention to college campuses. College campuses are where the best dreams and the finest startups take wings. Google, for example, was created at Stanford University, Facebook at Harvard. But here in India, eager youngsters who want to start up on their own find that there is little support to turn their entrepreneurial dreams into reality. This was said by Kritika Krishnamurthy in Economic Times in 2013, and today we are at 2021. But you see, there have been a lot of startups that have been coming up on their own with a lot of grit and perseverance, in spite of the system, which may not have developed as fast as we have wanted to. But if you look, Paytm, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Ola, Oyo, haven't they made our life simple and easier? Haven't they made today even a child in school doesn't bother give me a cab or send me here, just books a cab, goes. When they're hungry, they order food. They're completely independent because of all these apps they have on their phones. So these are some of the startups who, right when they were quite young, they thought outside the box and started up. So I want to just put this forth because I'm in the august company of a lot of wonderful faculty today. So this is a wonderful research which was done by NASA. NASA generally has this questionnaire which they give to people when they are joining NASA, and it has some problem which people have to solve. So when they tested this on normal children, around 1,600 of them, and they gave the same question paper and the same problem to solve, you know what is the result they got? This will startle you, because when they gave the same question to children in the age group of 1 to 5 and asked them to give a solution, this is the problem, give a solution, up to age 5, 98% of the children gave them divergent solutions, very divergent. It had wonderful solutions, but nothing was similar. 98% were different. When the same problem was given to the children at the age group of 10, 30% only had divergent answers. Balance 70 gave same solutions. When you give the same question to age group 15 years, only 12% had divergent thinking or divergent answers. And when the same test was given to 280,000 adults above the age of 18, and the result was that just 2% gave different answers and 98% gave same answers and same solutions. Now, what does this? This talks about the sad state of affairs that as we grow up, I don't know whether it is education or society or general atmosphere, we all start thinking alike, and we give same problems, same answers to a problem, because we are all made to think alike. We're all made to think this theory only works, this only happens, only this can happen, this is time tested, whatever. So only 2% will give you divergent answers. The rest all are thinking alike, thinking in the box and not outside the box. So this is an eye opener, because this is what we make our children think that make them think alike, that only this can be. But this needs to change, and that is where I think research comes in. So what we'll be doing today is we're going to look at research and innovation in education, a bit as to why a lot of research remains where it is at times, even though it is so useful. And then we look into what is a startup ecosystem. We look into how do we nurture entrepreneurship, and a bit on the role of incubators, accelerators that today every college and university need to have. Then we'll take in Q&A. But since the number is not large, we are just 20 people, I am okay if you can raise your hands and ask questions in between. I'm okay if it is interactive. The number is small, so we can make it interactive. So please feel free to just unmute yourself and ask me a question even in between. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, ma'am. This is Zakir. For your kind information, many students are watching through YouTube, ma'am. YouTube. They are watching to YouTube.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Yes. I thought that, yeah, got it. So yes, they are on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So let me just start with basic versus applied research. Now, what happens is when you look at, this is a classification that in research, and this classification is very important because we should know this classification. Basic research is something you are doing it out of interest and curiosity, and the motivation may be to add to the body of knowledge, not necessarily to commercialize it or create a product out of it. It could be like, anything like what does a genetic code determine who we are? What is specific genetic code of an earthworm? I mean, you are looking at it from the body to create a little body of knowledge. You're not really creating it with a end in mind that we need to commercialize it and create something out of it. So that is okay. If this is the thing, you could have a lot of work done in basic research, which is okay because it adds to the body of knowledge. But today, I think more and more research needs to be, because we have quite a bit of this. We know a lot of PhDs are lying in stacks of libraries which have never seen the light of the day, because they are basic research and probably do not have many, not all, I would say, many of them probably do not have relevance in terms of being utilized. Okay, so it is fine. On the other hand, I think we need, so basic research is okay, but we need to move more towards applied research, which is basically we are trying to, start with a problem on hand. And we are saying this is a problem, a social problem, a physics problem, problem related to chemistry, anything. This is a problem we are facing. Now you work backwards and we try to find a solution to overcome that problem. Okay, with a problem in mind, we are working backwards. So that is applied research basically. And the goal is obviously to see an end application into something like improve agricultural crop production, get better network throughput, find alternative routing solutions. I mean, you just look at it, it can be anything of, like, I would say the best example of applied research would be the way the world has worked to get a solution to the pandemic, which is existing now, has been something which is the best example of applied research. A research of that kind, which is basically developing a vaccine, would mean nothing less than 10 years. If you look at molecules in the world for medicines, or you look at vaccines in the world for testing of efficacy and testing of long-term, what happens to people in the long term, nothing less than 10 years. It takes more than 10 years or so for a vaccine to become commercialized and come to the market. But having seen the problem, the world collaborated to push it through. The efficacy questionable, but nevertheless it came through, and that is the best example of applied research. When you knew you had a problem and you moved backwards and you said, come on, we need to hurry up and make a vaccine. So that's what is applied research, and it really is wonderful if people can focus more towards applied research, because somewhere it benefits society and people and markets. So I would say that, this is famously called the Pasteur's quadrant, because it came from a scientist called Pasteur. So if you look at this, it's just about quest for fundamental understanding should be high, and consideration of usage. We are taking these two parameters, and then we are trying to see that a pure basic research, which may not have an application probably, is in this quadrant, is in this first quadrant, pure research, high on understanding, but very low on applicability or usage. On the other hand, you would find something which is neither high on understanding nor low on usage is not desired. This kind of research is not desirable at all. So when people are taking up research, please do check up in which quadrant you fall. But on the same time, if you are not so high on understanding, but still has a great usage, sometimes it could just be an app coming in which has high usage, nothing much on fundamental research happening, but just using a code to make some new app or some algorithm, but it becomes very, very useful for the general public, then we would say it is applied research. We would say that it is applied research, but basically one would want to be here, which is both high on understanding and high on usage. So this is called the Pasteur's quadrant, and this is what is desirable in terms of research. What is innovation? Innovation is unlike invention. Invention is something which usually comes with a flash of inspiration. And so I have invented something, and innovation is more of a process. So when you're doing research also, it should integrate a bit of innovation process in it. It's a process of coordinative activity. It is linked with identified opportunities. These are the opportunities, these are the gaps in the market, and generally it generates a new value for either a customer or an organization. So that is innovation, and innovation is highly recommended, and especially should come a lot from educational institutions where much of research and innovation happens. So if you look at innovation, basically there are four things in innovation. It is the idea, which is basically ending up giving a solution. So it is also solution based. It is not just understanding or a body of knowledge. It is a body of knowledge which gives a solution, and it should result in product development. So it should end up in some product or service development, and of course it should be marketed, otherwise it will just lie somewhere as a product and never reach the market, never get commercialized. Okay. So traditionally, see, this is an interesting thing, the old model and the new model. Again, very important for researchers and innovators to understand this, and also for startups, because basically we follow this model in startups as well. Earlier, we used to say that you have a passion to do something, or you want to do something, you want to start a business, you start a business, you make a prototype, you get some funding from the bank or anywhere, then you make the product, you make a business plan, you make a product, and you put it in the market. Okay. Then when you put it in the market, you just have to wait and watch whether people will come and buy. So that's a very dangerous thing to do, because you have never understood the market. All you have done is you have made a product because you thought that this product is required in the market. So you made it based on your thinking, and then you put it in the market and it never got sold. So we say you are in the valley of death, because you don't know, you may come out of it or you may not. Same way in terms of research, if you look at it earlier, the traditional model was you discover some, because this is also sponsored, this is also done by the Department of Chemical Technology. I just took an example from chemistry. You look at this, you discover a novel nanostructure, nanoparticle, nanomaterial through investigator, and you do some exploratory research. Then you determine the nanomaterial, the chemical, physical and biological. Then you identify potential application of that value. First you make it, and then you start identifying how do you apply it, and then you access, okay, how can I apply it, and so that it gets a commercial value. All right. So basically, first thing is you are just making something and then trying to find a commercial value for it. Okay, I'll give you another example. For example, laser beam. Laser was identified way back, but people didn't know what to do with the laser. For it was after many years that again, people thought how to apply it, and then the application started coming. So then the nanomaterial enters the market. But typically, what should be in the new model, if you are following application-based problem-solving research, then it should be that you start with an existing need. This is really important. I'm focusing this also for students who are basically trying to start up. This is the same issue. You must start with a problem in mind or a gap. This is there and that is there, but in between this is not there. Okay, or this is a social problem and people don't have solution for it. This is a problem. We are running out of petrol in the world, so we need electric cars. We are running out of some other energy, so we need an alternate renewable energy. So once you look at the problem and then you start making the research on it, it has much better results. So what we're doing is we are starting with existing needs, problems or challenges in the end use application. We are starting from there. And then we start designing. We do a design, we produce it, we scale up the nano-based material with exact properties needed based on established understanding and methods. And then obviously, since we have made it for solving a problem with exact properties, obviously there'll be a large number of diverse products based on nanomaterial by design rapidly, which can enter the market. So the gap between making, unlike the laser, the gap between making the product and entering the market can be shortened. If this gap is too long, the product may just die a natural death and never reach the market. So this has to be kept in mind. So at this point, can I just stop for a minute and ask, am I going fine? Is it okay? Not too fast, not too slow? Can somebody unmute and tell me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All okay?
It's absolutely fine. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. I just need feedback because otherwise I feel I'm talking to a screen. So, okay. So let's break the myth now. One thing is, an idea is not an invention. For all the students who are watching me, this is very important. Just don't think, I have a great idea. I have a lot of students who come to me on a daily basis and say, I have a great idea, but they're very scared to share the idea. Somebody will steal my idea. Please remember, an idea is not an invention. And an idea comes like there are multiple ideas which come to multiple people every day, and not even 1% of those ideas will see the light of the day, because idea is not an invention, idea is not a product, idea is not a business, but it's a starting point, no doubt. So it's good to have an idea. It's absolutely good to have an idea, but do not equate it with invention. Then an invention is also not a product. Please remember that. Invention, people say, I invented something. That doesn't mean it's a product. There are hundreds of inventions done. And most of the people whom we think have invented the product, actually, those were the people who could bring it to the market. In fact, many of the famous inventions came before those people actually invented it. Even something like electricity. Actually, it was already kind of invented, but it never reached the market. So you have to remember, an invention is also not a product. Also, something not done before invention, it does not mean that, oh, I invented, nobody has got this product. It also doesn't necessarily mean that it is useful. It is something new, okay, but doesn't mean it is necessarily useful. And last, a useful invention, what is that? It is a successful product which has some end use by somebody, and a large number of them, and that becomes useful only if it is marketed well. So what I'm trying to see is that crores of rupees are put into research today, are put into innovation and process today. So unless it is brought to the market, it doesn't become a useful invention. That has to be kept in mind. And that is where I think the role of universities and higher education comes into picture, because till now we were only supporting innovation, invention, and then we feel our work has ended. But no, it is superbly great that we have to support research, we have to support innovations, but educational institutions are also now entering into the field of not just supporting research and innovation, but also helping them to take them to the market. And that is where comes the role of incubators that are being set up in so many colleges and universities, as you must have seen. So the path from invention to a product basically requires 6 aspects are there. What are those 6 aspects? It's important to understand that there are quite a few things you have to do to actually traverse this journey from inventing something to actually making it useful. What are these 6 aspects? First is you need to have a technology development. So you need to develop the technology, maybe research, maybe invent something, and that's where again you have a big role to play as an educational institution. Then while you are actually developing this technology, you need to secure intellectual property. That means get it patented, so therefore it remains protected. Then you have to think about making a prototype, and then the prototype gets translated into either by you or by somebody else, that's okay, into a manufacturing process development. So the next thing in line is how can this invention, innovation go ahead and get translated into a manufacturing process, because now it has to reach the market. Then you have to look at the financials. It cannot be an innovation which is too off the way, too expensive. It has to be technologically viable, financially viable. So financially, if it is not viable, then no matter how good the technology, it will never reach the market and it won't be useful also. It's too expensive. Okay, so we have to see the finances. Then you have to look at how do you develop this into a business, right? So again, this is a different ball game. Not everybody probably would have a taste for it. So you can decide where you want to be in this aspects, and then you could develop a business out of it and set up a company and management which can take this product to the market. So these are the 6 steps. There's an important saying in the startup world and also in the technology adoption cycle that, when you put any new thing into, you first start up with innovating it. So the first users are the innovators themselves, the lead users, the innovators who want to try new things. So that is the first. That's the first. If you can see it here, just a second, I'm trying to annotate, just a minute. Yes. So if you look here, these are the first ones. These are the first ones who are the innovators, and their users also will be most of the people who are very enthusiastic about anything new. Then if you see comes the early adopters. This is the second one. The early adopters are the visionaries. They are the ones who want to buy everything first. So these two will anyway buy. So that is the first market. But the first crack comes in here. We call this as the chasm. And this is important for students also to understand. This is the most difficult gap you have to. This is where 90% of the people fail. Why? Because you can create the product. You will have support from university. You will have support from grants from government, all those stuff. But when your product is ready and you have tested it over initial adopters, visionaries, people who want to try new things, this is all okay. But when you really have to make it into a majority market, that means you have to put it into the market, and the market is going to be the final ones who will give the verdict. So crossing from here to here, this is the most difficult crack that you have. You have to crack this code, in fact, this gap, and then you reach the early, then it enters the market. So it enters the market also. You see there's an S kind of thing. Every product has a life cycle because it has some technology which gets outdated, and if you don't innovate, then people will buy it and there'll be a whole 4, 5, 6 years. Today's technology cycles are short, so they will buy it. And then you reach a peak. So there's another crack here. What is this? That means this technology is going out now. And here, if you don't innovate, if you innovate, you will go up again. A new cycle will start. If you don't innovate, there's likely to be a downfall here. So if you look at this part, the beyond the second crack, these are people will still buy, because you remember we had cassettes, then we had CDs. So there will be people who will keep buying it, even though technology is slowly going out. And then even some who adopt the technology late, this is the third crack, they will keep buying it till the end, and though the technology is going out. So this is the cycle. You want to enter, you should enter when globally this technology is coming into being. Don't enter any market when the technology is falling. This is not the time to enter a market using this technology. This is the time to enter and then cross the chasm. Okay, or this is the time to enter. Even here, if you enter, it is fine. Here you enter, it is fine, but not here or here. I hope I was clear on this. Yes. So, yeah, so if you will see, in terms of phases for a startup and for commercialization of any innovation, what happens is it takes around 18 months. You create the product, you create it, and then there's a phase 1, 12 to 18 months, where you try to put it into the market, and the first people who will buy it are the innovators, the people who are crazy about new technology. So they are the first people who will buy this. Okay, then and you will not even get investment so quickly for this. The second phase, this is where we call it as the valley of death. This is the phase where some angel investors, we call them angel investors because they come as angels. They will, if they are very interested in your product, they will put in some money. So that is called as phase 2. But in this phase 2, the risk is the highest. The risk is the highest because you are putting the technology into the market. And that is where you don't know whether this will be accepted or not. Therefore, it's called as a valley of death, 18 to 42 months after you have prototyped the product. Then from here onwards, once it bypasses this stage, you are a little bit more comfortable. You have come out of the valley of death. If you have come out of the valley of death, it's easy to really put it into a bigger market and commercialize it. So here, once the product is accepted by the early adopters and by the early market, that is when the other investors will come in, because basically they feel, okay, market has accepted your product, your proof of concept has been done. So therefore, now it is less risky to put in money. And so venture capitalists and some angel investors, early investors, banks, start putting in money into your startup. So then you get a bit more comfortable here. So the biggest leap for anybody is basically from invention to product is this leap, the chasm, what I said, where from this invention, which is made, to the actual product, which has to go into the market, 90% will go into valley of death, 90% or more. And 10% or less will actually make this jump to a product. See, this is a real statistics, but it is okay. Even if 10% make the leap, we still have great innovations that can get commercialized and come to the market with newer and newer products. And once the product is done, then it can proceed to commercialization and making money out of it. So this is the process. Now, let me just get into the startup ecosystem that we have developed over the years in India. Am I going fine? Is it okay?
Yes, madam.
Shall I continue? Any questions? Anybody?
Yes, madam. You can continue, madam.
Okay. So if you look here, you will see what is a startup. First thing is we need to define it. Okay, an entity which is basically working towards innovation.
Madam, sorry to interrupt, madam. Madam, a small request is the valley of death which you are referring, is it mainly
Yeah.
because of lack of improper planning by the individual or any other external sources?
No, sir, many things may be there, not just when you are here to reach this in this product. What can happen is the startup or the inventor, he loses focus and he thinks, oh, how many more years to wait, how much more effort I have to put in, so he gives up. He doesn't get funding, so because of lack of funding he can't take it forward. Next is some newer technology comes up, so the older tech, so what you're doing is based on an older technology, so right here it dies its own death. Or they could be, probably you don't have a great team, or the marketing strategy is not good. So what happens from invention to making it a product which can be manufactured for the market, there itself the 80%, 90% of ideas and inventions will go down. Don't be sad by this. It's okay, that happens in every country. Almost 80-90% of inventions are never coming to the to see the daylight. That happens. But even if 10% come, that is enough. But sometimes what happens, the reasons may be many, like you asked, the reasons may be many. That is the reason why educational institutions have to support the startups here. Now, can you think of a startup who is inventing? He has taken loans to do an educational program, and then he is inventing here. He's got a placement here, and from parents to everybody are saying, "What are you doing? You invested so much money in doing this program. Now you got placement. You are leaving the placement and you're doing innovation." Nobody will accept that. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then, even if he has that much perseverance and he does this, at some point he'll break up because he has no funding. So that's where I think this complete ecosystem of making this success, this even 10% success to reach the product, is where all the educational institutions have a big role to play.
Yes,
I hope I'm clear, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am,
Yes.
as you mentioned, idea is not an invention. So, but without idea, there will be no invention, no, ma'am.
No. I said idea is not equal to invention. Invention may come from idea, but to say I have an idea, it doesn't mean you have an invention. Okay. And many students say I have an idea, but the idea needs to be processed. Okay, then only it becomes a startup or an invention or an innovation. Just ideas are a dime a dozen. As many people in this world, that many ideas. As many people in the world, that many ideas. All of us have one great idea. But is it marketable? Is it financially viable? Is it technologically feasible? Is it practically applicable? Everything has to be seen before you even put even a single paisa in it. Okay? Rupa Rani, I've answered you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so now coming to, let's understand how do we define, and this definition is given by Government of India today. First of all, when we say startup, it doesn't mean anybody who's working in any industry is a startup. Normally today, the word startup is used when you are in some industry, and you could be in an old industry, traditional industry, that's okay. But as long as you are, you're working towards something different, which has an innovation element, is novel, you are developing it, you're deploying it, and you're commercializing the product or the process or the service. So it could be product, process, service, which is driven by technology or has some intellectual property. Something novel, which can be either said, okay, I'm using some technology, or I'm using some patented intellectual property, which is not known till now, some novel, then only we call it as a startup. Typically, if somebody is manufacturing some plastic chairs, let us say, that guy cannot be called as a startup. Why? Because that's already there. So there's not, if he is using some new technology to make that plastic chair, yes, then it will be a startup. Okay, like for example, I'll give you my own examples. I had one startup which was, he's called as Explode, not EXPLODE, EGGSPLOD, Explode. What does this guy do? He makes protein-rich, egg-based food, okay, from smoothies to food items, all based in egg and other things too, but basically his focus is on egg. So his what is his difference? He's saying, I'm making simple egg-based food which gives high protein content to the people who eat it, and therefore I'm kind of increasing the nutrition levels of the Indian population. And he's just a cloud kitchen, as we call. The Swiggy and Zomato come and pick up from him, but he has been given startup status. You have to apply for startup status. Why? Because he's using the protein content in his food and creating it with eggs. So what I'm just trying to say, just you have to show something novelty in your product. Okay. Now, normally it was 5 years. Any company which is 5 years old, up to 5 years was called a startup, but this has changed. Now it is up to 10 years. So any company started up to 10 years of the date of incorporation, the day they registered the company, up to 10 years, they can be called a startup, or if they reach 100 crores, whichever comes first. So if they reach 100 crores turnover in 5 years, then they won't have startup status. But up to 10 years, if they don't reach 100 crores status, they can be called as a startup. Now, why did they increase this 5 to 10 years? Why? Because in the case of biotechnology and life sciences, like I just said, vaccines, medicines, it takes almost 10 years to do trials, clinical trials, then animal trials, then human trials, then so 10 years go away just like that. So to include them in the startup so that they also get benefits, this has been now converted to 10 years. Up to 10 years, you can be called a startup if you are below 100 crore turnover. You should be the Indian government will declare you as a startup if you are, the founders are of Indian origin and your company is headquartered in India, registered in India. And you should be active. Basically, the company should be not a shell company, it should be a working active company. And generally, the startup must have at least a prototype. That means one prototype has to be made, or a minimum viable product to showcase. And then you can say that you're a startup. But if you say, I have a great idea, neither can you patent an idea, nor can you get startup status if you just say, I'm in idea, I'm still in the ideation stage. So I have an idea. Still, till you make a product, at least a sample prototype product, you cannot look for startup status. Okay, so this is a startup. So now looking at the landscape in India, it's a very happy situation. India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, after US and I think China. We are the third largest ecosystem in the world. We are expected to witness an year-on-year growth of 12 to 15% every year. We are growing. The startups are growing by 12 to 15% every year. And we have today 50,000 plus startups actively operating in India. And some 8 to 9,500 of these are basically technology based only. So you will find more and more startups using technology. 1,300 new tech startups were born in 2019 alone. Just in 2019, we had 1,300 new tech startups, and which makes it like, if I even look at 2019 data, because 2021 we say pandemic, but still in pandemic also we had many startups. 2 to 3 tech startups are born every day. That means in our country, 2 to 3 startups are born every day. And these startups are phenomenal. They have the potential of making the country grow 4 times by 2025 in what could be a decade of exponential growth. So the way the startups grow is phenomenal. You can actually see, now I told you your day starts with and WhatsApp and Uber, Big Basket, DriveZ, Drive You. You just think of your one day life, and you will know what startups role is in your life. So even if you look at the landscape in our country. Even in 2020, you will see we had 11,000 to 12,500 startups which came up as part of a pandemic year. 16,000 more startups were added. And we had around actually 21 unicorns only in 2021, and in 2020, 38 unicorns. What is a unicorn? A unicorn is when the company reaches 1 billion valuation. When the company is valued at 1 billion, we say that company is a unicorn. So even in pandemic year, in 2020, we had 38 unicorns in that 1 year, which reached $1 billion valuation. And even in 2021, which was the toughest pandemic year, we had around 20-21 unicorns from India. And funding, you can see $3.58 billion, $3.5 billion. Deep tech, which is artificial intelligence, IoT, virtual reality, augmented reality, 19% growth in such startups. We have a potential of 55 plus unicorns, and overall percentage share of startups outside established hubs, that means which are not getting covered, also 29% are there outside the hubs of startups. That means outside Bangalore, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, these are the hubs. Pune, these are the hubs for startups. So you can see over the years, this is a very nice image I've taken from a report by, NASSCOM Zinov. You will see this report is tracking how the startups came up over the years. And again, you will see, Array, I'm using this, I'm using that. Flipkart, InMobi, Go, Ibibo, I just booked tickets from this. Zomato, I just ordered food from this. Byju's, if you're a student, you might be taking some program, Quicker, Simple, MobiKwik, Cartrade, Ola, every day sometimes, Snapdeal, Paytm. Look at all these. LimeRoad, if you are a woman, probably you're using dresses from LimeRoad, Urban Ladder, Swiggy, Oyo, Grofers, Droom, Rivigo. Just see how the landscape has changed from 2007 onwards to 2017, bringing so much to our daily day. And in 1819, these startups, I think they became unicorn. Byju's, Paytm Mall. Byju's is one big hit. Freshworks, Zomato, and Byju's have, I think, gone for public issue as well. Then you have Dhruva, Delivery, Practo. This has gained a lot of importance after the, even before, but after pandemic even more. BillDesk and so on. So you will see that they keep getting funding, and because they are so, not because they are profitable, please remember that, because they are startups, they may not reach profit so quickly. They are getting so much funding from outside and from India because they have been so useful and so many customers are utilizing them. So they have a great customer base. So even if they are in loss, people will fund them. Why? Because we all are used to Uber, Ola, Swiggy, or Oyo. Where will we go? End of the day, we'll come back to them. So they don't lose customers. That's why there's no risk in funding them. So that's the way the startup world works. And a very interesting fact about our startups in India are that most of them, and all these, mind you, for students, these all are from students. Just after their or during their studies, they started up, and then they, took it forward. Some of them were also incubated in incubators. For example, Ola, I'll do this in the end. So if you will look, all three of them have gone abroad now. You will find an Oyo in Malaysia, China, UK, Indonesia, Japan. You will find an Ola in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Australia, UK, and Byju's has gone to UK, US, and Australia. So now they are not just Indian startups, they have become global startups. Why is this happening? This is happening because there's a strong investor support to these startups. Instead of investing money here and there, they don't mind investing because these startups are like, they may be risky, but if they make it, then the returns you get by investing in them are enormous. Then there is a success in local market. So after that, they diversify to the international market. Then there's a hope of revenue growth. There's visibility in global community, increase in valuations. And therefore, you will find Indian startups are not just sitting in India, but they're also going abroad. Now, coming to from the point of view of the institution, what are the things that you can look forward to? And from the point of view of students as well. These are all the bodies which will give funding for setting up incubators or for starting up your own startup. SIDBI, for example, is called as Fund of Funds. It actually has a 10,000 crore fund, which it gives to other banks under the schemes of Startup India or directly to startups. Generally, it is a fund of funds, so it gives funding to other funding agencies, which is sitting on a 10,000 crore fund. And to date, 600 crores of this has been already released by SIDBI. Around 75 to 100 startups today have benefited from this fund. Then look at this. This is the most important for institutions. Atal Innovation Mission is basically set up to give a lot of incubation support to educational institutions to set up incubators. So under Niti Aayog, what is this doing? This is giving tinkering labs for schools. This is around a 10 lakh fund for schools to set up tinkering labs where children can tinker with things and think outside the box. And for educational institutions like yours and universities, they have Atal Incubation Centers where you can get a 10 crore fund, which is granted to you, I think in two installments. And you have to show certain things. Some checklist is there. You should have some 1,700 square feet of incubation space. You should have mentors. You should have connect with industry. You show all that. I think one round of approvals are already there, and you can see Atal Incubation Centers in many universities and colleges. Then so under this, I think 13 or more, I think 19 or so, I think we're given Atal Incubation Centers, like Triple IT here has it, and so many others who applied got this. So you have 374 Atal Incubation Labs in schools today, with each of them were given around 12 lakhs. And you have around 13 to 19, I think, incubators, which have got 10 crore funding. Then the other thing is Department of Science and Technology and Department of Biotechnology. Under this, this may sound a bit boring, but this is important from institution point of view and also from student point of view, because if institution has these incubators, then students will get admission into these incubators. So for both, this is important. You should be aware. This is called as National Initiative for Development of Harnessing Innovation. It's called NIDHI under the Department of Science and Technology. These will promote students. This is especially for student startups of educational institutions to accelerate their journey from idea to prototype. So to basically cross that first crack, the first crack I showed you, to cross that crack to convert the idea into a prototype and a product, basically outsiders will not fund you. So you have to get grants. These grants you will get under this Nidhi. There are two schemes here, Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi EIR, that is Entrepreneur in Residence. That means you stay put with the educational institution, like IIT Hyderabad has this, and also Triple IT has this, Nidhi EIR. Here, students have to apply, and with your idea, what you have in mind or what you're doing right now. Once you apply under this, around 10 lakhs you will get grant. And then even if you are not in an educational institution, you are just, somebody who worked on this, need not be a present student also. But if you have an idea which is really worth it, and that institution also has the same agenda like a technology-based incubator, then you go with that innovation to IIT Hyderabad or Triple IT or any other place which has this Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi EIR, Entrepreneur in Residence, put up your proposal. Then they will interview you. They will have a process of shortlisting. And if you are selected, then they will incubate you. So this is an important scheme. It's very important. Even Government of India is giving a lot of schemes for startups. For example, any startup which comes under Startup India, which is registered under Startup India, You will get a 3-year no taxes to be paid for 3 years, and you will also get exemption on capital gains. That means any capital gains that you make up to 50 lakhs, you don't have to pay a capital gains tax on it. So these are some of the benefits you get, and there are many more. Like if you have to register as a startup. This is for students. As a startup, if you have to get some benefits, whatever your idea, whatever you are taking forward, you have to apply. That's the first thing I told you. DP. One second, I'll just go back and come back to that slide. Yeah, this is the one. Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT. You just go online and apply for this. If your product, if your startup is accepted, it gets accepted within 2-3 days. It's all online. Once you get this status, you will become eligible for getting all these getting all these fundings, exemption. Even if you are applying for a trademark, patent, it becomes cheap. Otherwise, applying for patent only can be 5-6 lakhs. It takes you to apply for a patent. But under this scheme, if you are a DP IIT registered startup, you can get funding. Not just funding, you can get some grants, and you can also be exempt from income tax. You need to pay less amount for trademarking, less amount for patenting, etc. Then TBI, Government of India has also, under the Department of Science and Technology, opened a couple of technology business incubators, TBI research parks and TBIs. So research parks get 1 crore funding. The institution gets 1 crore funding. And this research park is mostly for bio incubators. So if you are having biotechnology or life sciences, then you can open a bio incubator with 1 crore. Under this scheme, 17 crores has been disbursed through 11 TBIs in the country. 7 research parks have been set up. Data may be a little old, but this is 2019 report, I think. And 290 startups have received benefits because they are registered under TBI. Any questions still here, both for institutions as well as students? You can ask. Students, I hope, can write their in the chat box any questions that they have.
Madam, again me, madam. A small question is, whatever the fundings were there, it was available only when the product is made by the candidate.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, see, if it is a research, then he can apply under research. Okay. Yes, under research, you will get grants. Yes, you will get research grant. Okay. Yeah. And prototyping also, Department of Biotechnology and Department of Science and Technology gives prototyping. They give in research grant and prototyping grant. So you will get, there is some step-by-step grants that you will get. But under Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi EIR, you will get straight away 10 lakhs. I think again they give you 7.5, and then a bit later on they give you the balance 2.5, something like that. I know of one girl who is working with us with the Nidhi Prayas thing. So we tied her up to the University of Hyderabad incubator, but we are accelerating her. Accelerator is something where we try to push her product to the market. Okay.
Yeah, because why I'm asking is the examples which you gave us, madam, that is Paytm or Olo or whatever is it, they're all software companies and they require less amount on spending from infrastructure. On basically Absolutely. The ideas are important, but in case of science, no, in order to quantify your ideas, we are supposed to conduct experiments which require some expenditure. So the basic expenditure, if the person, suppose if he's a socially challenged, from where do we get this funding for conducting of experiments?
So actually, whatever is your research or idea, you have to have some end in mind, just not the product. So once you are developing it, you are creating it, you can make a design based product. Okay, you can design it on paper. Even the design on paper can be sent for initial prototyping. Okay, so once you can get an initial prototype or patent, okay, once you have a patent, then you will get full support from the incubators, because you have a patent already or you have applied for a patent. So even patent application, if you have applied, because patent also take 5 to 6 years sometimes to get patent, but patent application is enough. So if you have applied for a patent, you can actually show this is we have applied for a patent in India, America, whatever, and then you can show the product. That proposal has to be presented in front of a team of either Department of Science, wherever the incubators are. Today in Hyderabad, you have 40 plus incubators only in Hyderabad, incubator plus accelerators put together, and co-working spaces for startups all put together. 40 plus are there only in Hyderabad. So there's a good ecosystem. So you have to put in whatever your idea is to some level, either on paper or something, or at least one prototype if you can make and showcase it. Prototype. For some people, even making the prototype also is expensive. But what it is, that is where the university, the grants, the research grants has to come, so that to help them make a prototype. Once the prototype is ready, then if you showcase to angel investors, to even government or to any other venture thing, they will be ready if they can see something valuable in that. So that there is no dearth. But the role of universities comes during the seed stage. That means the seed is germinating. So what you're doing is you are creating a prototype. Till there, you have to help the students. So if you look at this, you will see the ecosystem is like this. Now it comes to, if you are setting up an incubator, what should you have? What should you have in an incubator? In an incubator, basically, you should have tie up with lot of people. Otherwise, the incubator is not useful at all. For example, your tie up should be with, let us say, the incubator has to be connected, has to have all these things with it: education and training, human capital and workforce, people working in it, local and global markets. You should have some connect with them, some connect with foreign people who are doing work in the same area, because you should know the latest technologies happening. Connect with the government policy, because grants, etc., come from there. Connect with the government regulatory bodies, because whatever you're doing, if you're doing it in whichever area you're doing, you should have a connect with the regulator. Like if I'm making a Paytm or something, I should have a connect with my regulator, which may be RBI. So whoever is your regulator, if I'm making a molecule, a medicine or something, I should have a connect with, if I'm in US, FDA, or if in India, Council of Medical Science Research. So whoever is my regulator, the incubator itself should have a connect. Then funding and finance. Somewhere the incubator should have a connect with grants by the government and by funding by private investors. A culture. The incubator should have a culture of supporting, promoting, and also accepting failures in the ecosystem. You should be having a panel of mentors, advisors, support service providers like company secretary, chartered accountant, legal people. You should have a connect with all of them, because when you're doing all this, you need all of them. For example, if I'm making a prototype, my incubator should help me with how do I get this prototype patented. So I need to have some panel where you can send this to for patenting here. So at least on the panel, I should be connected to a agency which helps me in patenting my product. I should have a connect with some chartered accountant who does a bit of finance for my product and says, okay, financially this product is viable or not. I should have a connect with somebody legal who legally tests my product and says, you are not copying someone, legally you're okay. Now legally you sign these agreements, legally you can give shares to so and so people. So what I'm saying is you need to be connected with the ecosystem, and every incubator obviously will have a connect with all of them. So research organization, and also you should have a connect with large companies like Microsoft, Google, because they also support a lot of startups. Today, every large company supports startups. Why? Because if they are doing some invention, innovation in their area, okay, which helps them, they do not want to start from discovering the wheel. Already a startup is doing it. Come on, let us take the startup in our incubator. Google has an incubator. Microsoft has an incubator. Facebook has an incubator. Amazon has an incubator. Walmart has an incubator. You name it, all of them have some innovation incubation lab. So what they do is they take these startups, like it's called as co-innovation. So what they do is they take these startups, like I remember one startup which is incubating with Microsoft. Why? Because it is making a technology product. So somebody was asking, they're all technology. Yeah, basically they are mostly technology products. So Microsoft gave them place in their incubator. They are incubating them, they are supporting them, they're also funding them. But what is the catch? The catch is that whatever they are making, the product they are making, software or whatever, is on the Microsoft platform. So what will happen tomorrow is, see, now I don't have funding, but Microsoft is giving me place to sit, place to work, giving me software tools, etc., etc. But what I have to do in turn is I'm using their Microsoft platform and tool. So tomorrow when I come up with something new, whatever I sell, that will be based on a Microsoft platform. So even they will sell. So this is a very wonderful way to collaborate with some of the big companies. Like Google is also collaborating with a lot of startups. You will not even know, like Google location also probably came up from a startup which they have bought over. So whenever they see something, either data or they see something, they actually acquire the startup, fund them, and they co-produce, co-innovate with them. So these are all the elements of a startup ecosystem. So the requirements of a startup ecosystem will be basically that you will have to have availability of, let's start from here, availability of experienced mentors, availability of somebody who can connect you with a regulatory environment, collaborative culture. That means you can't be competing. You should collaborate with companies, collaborate with other incubators. You should collaborate with each other. And some success stories. That means if one or two success stories have come out of your incubator, that becomes an example for many more students to join in. Risk tolerance. The incubator has to have a risk tolerance. That means there will be failures, and you will also, as an incubator, lose some money on putting into some startups. That's where you have to be careful how you select those startups into your ecosystem. And you will have to connect with grants and capital, some investor networks, so you can invite those investors to your college and make your startups pitch your business plans in front of them. Maybe they like, out of 10 they may like one person and say, okay, please come and meet me, and we will give you some 10 lakhs funding, and we will take some equity in your company. Then you need technical skills, you need entrepreneurial culture. So this all has to be created in an incubator and a startup ecosystem. Any questions still here?
No, madam.
Am I going too fast? Is it clear?
No, madam. No, madam.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is it's not that difficult. But what I'm saying is, if you set up an incubator, it's not that just that if we have one big lab and space to sit, then you call it an incubator. No, that's a lab. That's not an incubator. An incubator will, the incubation, I'm just coming to that also. And incubation is a separate thing. Second thing, if any college has an incubator, or any university has an incubator, that incubator does not mean that it is only meant for your own students. An incubator is, you can take in anybody from outside your student network also. It is a completely separate program. Like you have 5 programs in your college, let us say, then you take people from outside into the programs. So incubation program is also like one program. It's not only for nurturing your own startups, it's an independent incubator. This point has to be very clear, because if you are going to depend only on your students, you will not get enough people in the incubator, and you will get student startups which will take very long. The incubator has to be a mix. The incubator has to take in laterally people from already who are into the product stage, some who are already, they already have a prototype. They are already having the product. Now they want to enter the market, the last stage. Even that also you can take into the incubator. Some in the idea stage. So you have to have a mix. If you have all idea stage, it won't work out. If you have all final stage also, that's not your goal. So incubator has to be open to taking a mix of people from within the college and outside, and it has to be run independently within the system, but independently. And it has to have a connect with regulator. It has to have a culture. It has to connect with company secretary, chartered accountant, lawyer, finance people. Without that, nothing, because you have to test the technical feasibility, economic feasibility, legal feasibility, so many things. So that's the role of an incubator. This is how basically the process works. You start with training them. Basically, sometimes some places start with a problem, like hackathon. A typical hackathon starts with giving students a problem. This is the problem. Let's say some problem you pick up. Let's say in pandemic, you can't use this. So what is an alternative? So you'll give this as a hackathon, and students will sit down there and try to crack the code of how to come out of this problem. That they'll bring in some solutions. Then you'll pick up some 5 to 10 people and you will start mentoring them. You will mentoring them to understand what is market research, what is startup. So these are all the terminologies, will help them make a business model, will help them make a business plan. This all are the content of mentoring and training. This is the content. I'm not going into this because this is what we do. Yes, sir. What's the question you're asking? Is somebody is asking a question or somebody by mistake? Can we have everyone on mute, please? Kindly mute everyone. Yeah. So training, mentoring, and after mentoring in the incubator, you
Hello, madam. Nandita, madam. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you did mute everybody. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you will have training, mentoring, and after the mentorship is over, when they come up with a product, they have to test the product in the market. So the next step is you have to prototype the product and you have to do a proof of concept. That means you have to check it in the market. You have to validate it in the market. You have to do a proof of concept and a market validation. So here, third step will be market validation in an incubator. These are the steps. And fourth will be you will try to access the ecosystem. That means where can I get funding from? Where can I get market from? The biggest problem is not just funding. The next problem is how do I reach the market? Which is the channel to reach the market? I made a beautiful product. It is very useful, I know. But how will the world know? And how do I reach this world? That market access becomes a big problem. That's the chasm, crossing the chasm, as I said. So crossing the chasm, you need many people to make it viral. So you have to connect with ecosystem partners. You need to connect with investors. Some investors will make it viral. Then you need to brand it. Then you need to, launch it. You need the media there. So otherwise the product will slowly just be there and it will never become famous. Okay. So you see, there are so many nuances of starting up. And when it comes to the funding side, when it comes to the content cycle and the funding cycle, these are the three stages we call. Every startup is in a pre-startup, startup, and growth stage. So normally when they come to the incubator, they are in pre-startup stage. That means they identify a potential scalable product. Okay, the idea has been validated. This is a potential product. You bring it and you know for sure that this is the market, because what you do in this pre-startup stage is you are trying to validate. That means you float the product in the market, you try to take a feedback from the market, you try to do primary research in the market, and then you come up with, okay, out of my sample, so many people said that the product is nice, they're willing to buy at this price, and they like the product because it is solving a problem. Once the sample 70, 80%, 60% also say they are fine with it, Then you move ahead. You try to start up. Then you create the company. You try to start operations, and you try to float the product in. You try to enter the market. Then you try to push the growth by aggressively putting your product into the market, utilizing all your resources to grow the market. And the next stage is you're already there. Let us say you're already floated your product in Hyderabad, Andhra, Telangana. Now you want to grow it for the rest of the country. The next is you'll go to Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Next, you want to go to North. So that's called as growth stage. In growth stage, you have to maximize benefits facing problems derived from the global dimensions that the business has achieved. Here, when you're growing, you will face different problems, but you will try to scale up. You will try to use the model in different places or tweak the model, and you try to grow. So this, when a startup comes to the incubator, you can ask them, what is your stage? You say pre-incubation or pre-startup, startup stage, launch stage, or growth stage. Which stage are you in? So once again, if you look at the environment, it is made up of several business incubation programs. There's a private community which is supporting startups. Like I just said, so many private companies today, they love to take in startups because they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can just take it. For example, if I'm a finance-based company, and if somebody like Paytm comes in, why would I not take? If you made an app for finance app, I would love to take you in and create a startup with you and put money in you and take equity also. So if you see, most of the apps were made by such people only, which were bought over by HDFC, which were bought over by PhonePe. All these apps were made by startups, which were bought over by many banks and other institutions. Like, for example, Byju's was a startup themselves, right? But today, when they have already become big and they are going for public issue also, just before the public issue, they bought 2 companies. Can somebody name them? You can unmute and name, but whoever wants to name.
Akash.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Akash.
Akash. They bought in Akash because Akash is the topmost in NEET for medical entrance, and they also bought White Hat Junior. Byju's bought White Hat Junior, and they bought Akash. Now the thing is, if Byju's could create courses for medical entrance, why should they create? Again, they are going to go from zero, start again. There's no need. Akash was there. They made a deal. We acquire you. So they acquired. Same way, even Google, Microsoft, they have something, they see it's useful, they acquire. This is called as business acquisition. Even the startups are very happy. For example, Akash happily got acquired by Byju's. It was a, I don't know how many $1 million deal. They're fine with it. Same, White Hat Junior also got acquired. For example, in older times, Myntra got acquired by Flipkart. What is the other company which got acquired? Snapdeal, not yet acquired. Myntra definitely got acquired by Flipkart. Flipkart acquired one more company like that. So if you see, these are all the customer, the investor, the government, the entrepreneur and small and medium enterprises, universities, R&D centers, inventors. This is where your role is so important. Service providers are the company secretaries, chartered accountants, lawyers. These are all service providers. And non-profit organizations. These are very, very important. They give you visibility. They give you market access. Who are these? Confederation of Indian Industry, FICCI, TAI, the Indus Entrepreneurs. Then you have NASCOM. Then you have HICIA. Then you have all these are non-profit associations which are made up of top-notch people from companies and businesses. They are themselves businesses. They also help you. They run programs for you and they help you access the market. So these are some of the players in the market. I don't want it to get very heavy on you, but still, tell me if you have any questions to ask or if you're tired listening to me. Yeah, you can unmute and tell me. It's all like too much one way. I like it to be interactive. Anybody, any question? Or any observation, sharing?
No questions, ma'am. It's absolutely good.
questions?
Yeah, no.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, this is Dr. Sindhu
Yes,
from
Sonika.
MBA department.
Yes, Sonika.
I have an issue with my camera, so I'm just speaking. Ma'am, it's very interesting, very, very informative. Ma'am, my first question is, what are the first basic steps, okay, to get this ecosystem in the college campus? Just basic practical steps.
Yeah. Okay. So basic practical steps. I'm coming to that. I'm just coming to that. Right now, I'm just explaining the.
Okay. Thank you.
Then I'll come to what colleges should do. All right. So I have time till 3:30, I guess. But yeah. So I'm coming to that. So in the ecosystem, this is how it happens. If you understand this, if you understand this, you can understand how to nurture them. That's the reason why I'm coming from here. So first, the student will have an idea. Okay, then he will create a concept out of it. Okay, this can be made into a concept. The idea has to be translated into a concept. The concept in turn will translate into a product or a service. Okay, so if he has an idea, then he has to convert it into a product or a service. The product or a service has to be tangible, obviously, and therefore it should be something little novel. Then also you should see that this person who came with the idea and has this concept which can be made into a product, is he committed to taking it forward or not? If he is not committed, he might as well give the idea away or, at a price, or he may form a team which is more dynamic and can take it forward. Always an innovator need not be a startup. An innovator need not be a businessman. Somebody, because he is having an innovative mind, he can innovate up to some level and make get a patent, and he can sell the patent. So most of the molecules today are not made by all these companies. They are made by individual innovators. Like there are startup companies which make so many medicines, and molecules. They sell it to Dr. Reddy's lab, Novartis, and for a bomb. That is a patent. So once you get a patent, then people will throw you for the patent. Okay. Yeah, so you must see whether the team is committed. So either the same innovator wants to take it forward because he has the business acumen, that is fine. But if he doesn't have it, then it is better for him to get a patent and then probably license the patent out or sell the patent for royalty, and he will end up making a bomb out of it if he knows how to do it. Then if the same startup is taking it forward, they will need to bring the product out in the market in its minimum form and get it proof of concept and validate it that market wants it. Till now, he should not go for mass production. First, he should float it in the market on a small scale, test market it, like a test drive, test market it. If he finds that people are liking the product and not just liking, they're willing to pay for it, then he should go for scaling up. Scaling up there are many startups who die in the initial, but without testing, don't produce too much, you will lose money. Then you scale it up and you understand at what price point people want it, in what form they want it, how they want it packed, where they want it to be sold. Do they want it reaching home or they don't mind buying it somewhere? And also the design in which they want it. Price is important. Once you are okay with it, and then you scale up, and then you establish your company. Till then, you are just what we call a startup. Don't invest too much money till then. Again, this is just want to show you this block. This block is where they need the help of universities and education institution. This is like a child. It learns to stand, it learns to walk and run. Till here, he is still in this loop. So what happens is, people ask, generally in the startup world, there's a saying, the first investment comes from FFF. That is friends, family, fools. Why do we say friends, family, fools? Because the first investment is by friends and family, and fools we say simply because there should be some people who should believe in your idea, because your idea is just in the mind. So we say a fool will will believe in your idea, but that fool can become a very smart investor later. So what he does is, if he sees something in your idea, some steam in your idea, he will put money here. Friends, family, fools, okay, founders and angels. And sometimes the seed investor angels will put in some money because they are passionate about your idea. Then comes when he learns to walk and he enters the market, then only the venture capital comes. They don't come before that. Please remember, once you grow and you scale up, then private equity comes the next level. And once you become very big, like now Byju's and Zomato, then they go for a public issue. So this is the life. It is only in this that the real help is required initially. Mentorship help, incubator help, advisory help, it's required here. As you keep going, now they require more of valuations and other things. See, so the first stage, concept stage, you will get grants and some angels will come in as you proceed from concept to prototype. Then as you keep moving forward, as you create a startup, you will get some seed funding from angels and a bit you're moving towards venture capitalists. Once your product is almost in the market, just started, then the VCs will come in, venture capitalists. Okay, so remember how they come in. Once the venture capitalists come in, then you get the real funding. Till now it was seed funding, grants, but the major push to capture the market comes from venture capitalists. And now the risk is also a little less. So they don't mind putting in money. They want to be safe. Then you can really grow your company. If this doesn't come, then your company will stagnate for a long time. If Flipkart and Uber did not get funding, do you think they would have become so big? Because somebody saw the value in Uber and Flipkart, these venture capitalists put in rounds of funding. It's called Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, and then they became really big and went for, and some of them go for public market. But what are the major challenges? The major challenges are basically from home and institutions culture. We don't encourage them to do startups because failure is a very big problem. But failure is a part of starting up. You cannot avoid it. Today, failure has to be celebrated because only after failure comes success. So if you don't, as a culture, if we don't accept failure, as a culture and institution, if we don't accept failure, nobody will want to start up. And mind you, all the startups that came up today, including Ambani's, they had several failures. Bill Gates, Apple, do you think they had no failures? Apple, Lisa was a failure. Macintosh was a failure to some extent. If you look at Ambani's also, they had their own failures. You look at Airbnb, they had 3 times they had to launch the product. It was a failure. So this is one thing, awareness that this can be a failure and we should move ahead. We should learn from failure and move ahead, change the model, change. Not like failure and then go there and leave it. No. Then there are financial challenges, technological challenges. Then there are sustainability challenges, regulatory challenges, social challenges. So these are all some of the challenges which startups face. And how do you do it? It's like awareness, connection to regulator, connection to technology integrators, connection to investors who can sustain you. Now comes what Sonika was asking, nurturing entrepreneurship in education. The first thing you have to do is you have to completely think about how can you alter your academic environment in the institution. That's the first thing. Change the academic environment of the institution, support, encourage in everyday class, support them to think differently, support them to go outside the book and do something, add entrepreneurship program. So as an institution, you can add, either you can get a program on entrepreneurship from AICTE or whatever, or you can run a private program if that is allowed. And I know many institutions which are running, other than the main program, 6 months entrepreneurship program. If you are below 1 year, you don't need AICTE approval. You can just run it on your own. So you can run a 6 months entrepreneurship program to get a funnel of people who are into entrepreneurship. Run this program where they get mentorship, training, It can be face-to-face or online. Once you run this program, also see that in your institution, you can apply for an incubator and get an incubator. That incubator gives you, today without an incubator, engineering colleges by mandate have to have incubators. Whether you set it up yourself or you get funding for it, you have to have an incubator. So make some changes in your curriculum to add entrepreneurship content. So every topic theme you teach, please connect it with how it can be applied in day-to-day life and how it can become an application which is so useful, whether it is physics, chemistry, whatever. I'll give you an example. There is one startup from Bombay. It's called Aapka Painter. Aapka Painter. Now what he does is you have to give him 3D listing of your house, making a new house or old house. So 3D of your house, they do a 3D thing, and then they do these paints and they tell you which color suits where. Even furnishing people, they do a 3D in CAD or CAM or whatever, and then they can tell you how the house should look like, what curtains where, which paint where. So he was incubating with the University of Hyderabad, with whom I'm associated, and he got a funding of some 20 lakhs straight away, because it was technology input kind of thing. So the thing is, kind of take examples from startups and give them and connect it with theory, which gives them some startup stories. Make changes in the way you deliver, not just curriculum, but also delivery mechanism should change. I'm also going to come to pedagogical changes. A good incubation infrastructure program should take place. And this is the most important thing, which most institutions don't do. Every institution should become member of several organizations like HMA, startup, what is this called? CII, TAI, then FICCI. They have institutional memberships. Faculty should become, through the institution, members of these networks and collaborations, because 80% of deals and support and funding and market access comes from this thing. And in fact, in business, 90% of business happens through networks and collaborations only. So if you don't form networks and collaboration, however good your product is, you can't sell as a student. And no matter how good your incubator is, you cannot make your incubator a success until you have networks and collaborations. Then coming to the academic, the institutional environment. High focus on entrepreneurship creation rather than only placement. How many institutions have superb great placement cells, and how many institutions are having ED cells which are always locked up? You will find placement cell booming. How many of you will advertise 100% placement in the paper to get next year's admissions? But how many institutions will advertise 5 startups from our campus? Do you even have track of your alumni who has started up? You never know. They may have become somebody famous. Unless you track your alumni who has become famous, and you should say he studied in the institution. We are proud to have created an entrepreneur. But today, anybody who comes out of your institution, even out of 5,000 students, if 5 become entrepreneurs, they are worth more than 95% of placements, because this 5 will generate that much value, much more than these 95. Please mind what I'm saying, make note of it. Believe me, these 5 entrepreneurs will create so much wealth for the country and give so much employment for the country, that these 95 who go out and everybody advertises 95% placement so proudly, why can't you advertise 5%? 5 people started up from Loyola Academy. Enough. That is more powerful than any of the placements. I hope I'm stressing on this, because this is really important, which institutions should understand. So please integrate this culture in your programs. Please see that you have a vibrant ED cell and a vibrant incubator, not just one lab. Vibrant. Vibrant means you have your incubator manager has to connect with all the bodies. Then you have to have tie-ups, as I just said, with all ecosystem partners. You have to create business opportunities on campus. This is very interesting. I've seen this in many campuses. The students Canteen should be run by students. If you have Xerox machine should be run by students. If you have conferences, all conferences should be completely handled by a student startup. Tomorrow he may become an event manager. From getting speakers to running the event, to seeing the food comes on the event, to doing a conference, global, local, whatever, students should do it. That you give it as a business. I'll give you an example. There is one university called Lovely Professional University, and also in Symbiosis, this happens. The complete call center is run by students for admissions. In fact, nobody in the admission department talks to them. It is the students' call center. Students have to talk to students who are seeking new admissions. They have to turn, and every time you turn a student prospect into a student, the student gets paid for it. Even in ICFI, this happens. The midnight canteen is run by students. The hostel laundry should be run by students. Students should run maximum things. That is the best practice, and let them be paid for it. This is the best practice. Let one students association take care of internships. Let somebody take care of placements. That's a business for them. HR placements. So let the students do, leave it on them. Don't spoon feed them. They will do it. They'll do it better than we do it. But you have to give them that chance and give them a business opportunity. That is how they learn business on campus. When Mark Zuckerberg started from Harvard, he called, those of you students who are listening to me, he called 5 students to his room, dormitory room, hostel room. Out of 5 students, only 2 turned up, I think. Dastovsky and Savarin. These 2 turned up to his room because the remaining 3 thought that, what will this bacha tell us? Okay, he was 16 years old. These 2 turned up and listened to his business plan. His plan was to connect people in the campus through social media. It was called only Harvard students. Then it went to Harvard alumni. Then it went to America. Then it went all over the world and became Facebook. But in fact, in the beginning, it was a very naughty startup. It actually brought only women pictures in the social media, and the girl students in Harvard were put up on the site, and the boys were asked to grade them 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, which was very, very not good. So the women on campus, they objected. Then he said, okay, let us connect student to students. Then he went to alumni. Then he went to, and that's how it became Facebook. But the 2 people who came to meet him, they became multi-millionaires. The 3 people who thought this bacha is calling us, those 3 people, we don't even know who they are in this world. So what am I trying to tell you? That create opportunities for them on campus, and then connect with bodies like NISBUD, Niti Aayog, MSME. There are so many things you can do. So today, if you look at it, I've already told this point, take pride in on campus startups. The faculty, and this is for faculty, the faculty should collaborate with the students. The students should get a mentor from faculty. Every startup should have a faculty mentor, and the faculty mentor gets a great name to be a part of the startup. In fact, he or she will mentor them till they go out of the incubator, and you will be the startup team for the product. Tomorrow, this can become big. Just like you do research, you can always say, I published a paper, but you can also say, I was in the startup team to set up Ola or Uber. So that is like a research paper. And it is also given credit. So if you think this is viable today, IIT professors are all part of all startup mentorship teams, and they are there. And they even sometimes for mentorship, they have equity in the company as well, sometimes till the company is in the incubator. So, and also give some provision for failures also. If they fail, like an IIM, they give you 3 years. You can start up, you can fail, and you can come back for placement again after 3 years. Up to 3 years, you can come back for placement. IIM will take care of your placement, but at least they are giving you a chance to start up. So this is one thing you can think about from different institutions. Just have all these programs in in depending on what your incubator is, if it is a health incubator, agri incubator, whatever, and connect with all these bodies and have a good entrepreneurship program. In curriculum also make changes. I know I'm going a little long, but then identify and recognize. So your curriculum, basically, whatever you're teaching, physics, chemistry, everything, somewhere you see that you integrate that. See, there are, as a faculty, you can do yourself a bit of research. What are the new areas happening along with students? Maybe you can do a research paper along with students. A lot of students have to be part of your research. They should do your market survey. They should do your initial review of literature, and students also should benefit. You should also benefit. So recognize business opportunities. Let the students do a lot of surveys and research, including with you as a mentor. Access and the idea and terms of feasibility and validate the idea. Then write a business plan around that new opportunity, and then identify what are the steps to start up. Till there, the mentor has to be with the student startup. You can also be a party to that. Even till today, I am a mentor for many of my startups who have gone out of my incubator accelerator. Still, I'm on their advisory boards. I'm still there. So curriculum, key learning outcomes. They have to, the students and faculty have to understand some financial implications. Team making is a very big thing. The team has to have faculty come student together in any startup team. They have to develop marketing skills, integrate technology. Anything that you do, technology you cannot avoid, so you have to integrate technology. Then get into learning how to brand the business. And once you are in the market, these are steps, okay? You can go for hacking the growth. And the way to teach it is, we are always teaching inside the classroom. You must encourage your students also to be party to a lot of these not-for-profit organizations. Let them go and attend. We have a saying in the startup world. The saying comes from a famous startup writer called Steve Blank. He has a saying. He says, this one sentence is very important: get out of the building. Get out of the building. So if you don't get out of the building, you're always just learning inside. What are you learning? So you need to learn outside the building. What is about local communities? What are the real business challenges? What are the problems society is facing? Connect with all these bodies. They will tell you the opportunities that are there. And then you can get back into the building and start working on it. But if you are only in the building, you're working inside a tunnel. So always learn to network, attend a lot of things, attend a lot of meetings, attend a lot of conferences, both faculty and students. Do a lot of group projects, role plays, site visits, project-based assignments. Don't do only assignments which are like term papers, write only theory-based. Do some real life projects. And you can get these projects. You can go to some companies and ask them what are the problems they are facing, either in software or in manufacturing company. The manufacturing company will tell you, we have no way, no good ERP to track this inventory. That is when, if you are a software guy, you should start finding what are the issues and get into an ERP which tracks it. So do a lot of these kind of activities in your pedagogy itself. And the incubation process itself is basically you are trying to create a space as well as getting in, incubatees, which are startups. Then you are trying to nurture them, instruct them, create an environment, helping them with grants and funding so that they can actually make a prototype and go out. So don't only just give them space, allot them a mentor. The incubator has to have a program manager. The program manager has to connect to the ecosystem. That means he has to connect to a few investors and say, by the end of 1 year, we will have 10 startups. We will hold a demo day. A demo day, they'll demo their prototypes. They will demo their business plans. You come and see. If you like something, please invest in them. The incubator has to connect with government grants and other places where you can get grants for your startup proposals coming out of your university. or your institution. So basically, you are a business incubator in business speak is a separate company that helps. So in many incubators, you create a new company, which is called Section 8 company. The incubator has a Section 8 company. The Section 8 company will invest in the startup until the incubatee is in the incubator. You will allow them to use all your facilities and allow them to use all your networks. So the process is you will ask people to apply for your incubation. Then you will ask them to submit. It's like a PhD thing, no? You will ask them to come and give their proposal. They will come and tell what they want to do. Then if you select a few, then you sign an MOU with every incubatee, because each of them, remember, is a company or likely to be a company. You sign an MOU with them. You form a business, they form a business plan. And in fact, the incubator can also have some 1 or 2% equity until they go out. Periodic assessment, and then they graduate to become, like you get a PhD degree, you graduate out of this and become a startup. So the process is selection, then you seek legal financial advice, whether you should take in such an incubatee, is it patented? If they have a patent, then who will share the intellectual property rights, whether the incubator institution or the startup, some sharing will be there because they are supporting you. So these all can be worked out in the incubator, but basically I'm making you aware that these are the processes. You will help them in fundraising, mentoring, coaching, advisory, networking, technology transfer. Once the technology has been made, mostly the incubator holds the technology, but it will transfer it to the incubatee to take it to the market, because basically your agenda is to help him till there. And then, but you get a name because they are incubated by you, and you get grants for that also from the government. What does an incubatee look for? He looks for shared premises. He looks for business advice. He looks for business services. He looks for networking. He looks for mentoring, and he looks for a full-time manager. He looks for solid markets. He looks for sound financial base. He looks for strong community, and he looks for a policy support, which the incubator should have with the regulator. So you can see this. These are generally the processes the incubator has to go through with its incubatee. Check for, after admission, check for intellectual property while admission. Check whether they already have a loan, like they have a Nidhi Prayas grant or something. If not, it's okay. Still, you can take them. Look out for common infrastructure. Periodically assess them. So these are some of the processes that the incubator has to follow. Yeah, and to end it, you have to have an agreement with the every incubatee that comes in. You have to have an agreement. Like the company has to sign a service agreement between the incubator and the incubatee company. So the incubator will sign an agreement with an incubatee. It can be for, I will be here for 1 year or 2 years and developing my technology, and the incubator will be a party to it. So that is an agreement that technology will be held as a patent between the incubatee and the incubator. Once the technology is ready for marketization, then the technology transfer will happen, and the incubatee has to pay back the equity of the incubator. Like usually people hold from, incubators hold from 1 to 5%. So you have to, once they are going out, then the incubator you can pay back the money to the incubator and take your equity back, or the incubator can continue to hold the equity in your startup. Technology also, you can transfer it to the incubatee on some payment. Finally, loan agreement. There will be some, either the incubator or the institution themselves will give a loan, or they will in turn get a grant from some government body and give a loan to the incubatee. The incubatees will never get the loan directly from government. Government will not give any startup direct funding. If your startup is great also, you have to be connected to an incubator. That is the importance of an incubator. So if any startup gets funding, then immediately the government will ask him to be connected to an incubator. So like one of our startups came to us, She's doing a non-invasive glucometer to test sugar levels. You don't need to prick your hand. You just need to put it on the phone attachment and it will tell you the sugar level. So for that, she got Nidhi Prayas funding. So immediately the funding won't come to her, it will come to the organization. So she had to be taken into the incubator at University of Hyderabad. So these are the agreements you have to sign basically. And to end it, you will see that Ola was started by Bhavish Agarwal. Because he was traveling, he actually booked a cab. He actually booked a cab to go from Bangalore to some other place. But what happened was they had already pre-decided that he's going to pay so many thousands to reach that destination. Midway, that fellow started troubling and said, no, you're not paying me 3,000 for the journey, you're paying me 4,000. So he said, listen, you already agreed to, and you said 3, now you're asking me 4,000 or 5,000, nothing doing. So that guy said, okay, you get down. And in the highway, he was asked to get down. That is his aha moment. We call it the aha moment. In this aha moment, he decided that this is not the way cab service should work. Whenever I book, automatically there should be calculation of kilometers, algorithm should work, and amount should come, and there's no negotiation or bargaining. So that is where he started Ola. It first started for long distances between intercity. Finally, he said, if this can work for long distances, why can't it work in the city? So they came from IIT Chennai, they came from IIT Mumbai, and their idea started while in the incubator, but finally it was taken out and they became a success story. The rest is history and you all know it, but you can track how they actually became what they are today. So that is the power of an incubator, and that is the power of a startup. These are some of the startups which came up during COVID. So interesting. I'll just pick out one or two. This is by a doctor. Because there was shortage of ventilators, you know what he did? Such a simple technology. To one ventilator, he attached 1, 2, 3, 4 nozzles. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one ventilator could give ventilation to 4 patients in COVID. So this is patented by Dr. Sonal Asthana and colleagues. Vent splinter. He has the patent for this, vent splinter. This is by Tamchos Gurmeet, infection-free first. Now it has become common, but this came first. With leg, you will open the tap or the soap or whatever. This My Labs is a very famous startup. In 2.5 hours, it will give you the COVID test. This was by DRDO, spray sanitizer. And this was Milgro launched 4, robots. One robot would go and give medicines to the patients in the COVID ward. One robot would go and give food. One robot would go and talk with the patients because there was no one to talk with them. They were becoming mental wrecks. So like that, 4, one would check them in, check them out in the hospital. These are some of my startups whom we are nurturing. He is a home-based fitness app. They will give you any type of fitness, whatever you want. You can have a personal trainer, but all online because of COVID. They turned their model. This is an app for small shops like dry cleaning shops, kirana shops. It's an app which will manage their complete payment, GST, everything will be done. And also their visibility in the non-internet market. Basically, they are bringing them on the digital platform. This is an interesting startup, Homis. No, basically his name is Arcslot. Arcslot is a construction aggregation platform where everything you need in construction, you can get on the platform. You can see arcslot.co.in. But today what he's doing is, his famous product is Homis, home office. Within 15-20,000, he will create an home office for you. You just have to give him one corner and he will create an home office for you. So that is all from me. I hope I have covered research, innovation, incubation, and startups. Yeah, I'm open to Q&A. Thank you.
Now
Yes,
I
sir,
request
I'm
Madam,
participants to ask the questions.
Madam, good
Yeah.
afternoon. Madam, good afternoon. I am Ghosh, working in the same department, Madam, Chemical Technology Department.
Yes, sir.
I have few questions, Madam.
Yes, sir.
Does the emergency of new technologies like development of ICT, telecommunication technologies, Internet of Things, smartphone, etc., create new market niches for the development of innovative startups, Madam? That is my first question. Second question is, how does the social insurance system and tax burden of economic activity affect entrepreneurship and innovation, Madam?
Your second question, I need to. Yeah, your second question, I need
because,
to understand a little more.
no, Madam, when some startup and all, we start and all, there will be some insurance system has to be covered, no, Madam. And what about the tax? We have to pay a lot of tax for that, no, Madam. So how it will be eased out, Madam, from the government? So how this social insurance system and tax burden of economic activity, how it affects entrepreneurship and innovations, Madam? Sometimes these two criteria comes in. One is our insurance. We have to insure our whatever startups we are going to, start, Madam. And after all, our we are in a tax net, no, Madam. So is there any from the government any easing out is there, Madam? Easing out of some tax system?
Yeah. I think I said this in the talk, that if you are a recognized startup under Startup India, and getting this name is not difficult. You have to just go on site and apply that you are doing a bit of an innovative thing. You will get the status of Startup India. Okay, that under startup, that you are a startup, recognized startup, like a gazette, your name will come. Okay, like you do registrar of companies, you go to register the company. You will go to register yourself as a startup under DPIIT. Once you do this, you get the tag of startup. Once you get the tag of startup, 3 years you don't have to pay income tax.
Okay.
No income tax. 3 years, no income tax.
Achha.
If you want to trademark, if you want to go for patent also, they will be easy patenting and less cost. Low cost patenting. Patenting is very expensive, but via Startup India, if you are recognized, your patenting will be very cheaply done. If you want to trademark and brand your company, it will be cheaply done. In case you, and in case you fail also, closing down the company is very easy. But if you are a non-Startup India company, like a small and medium enterprise, it is really difficult to close a company in India. You know, it is easy to open a company, very difficult to close a company.
Madam, can it be insured, Madam? Because I have seen some of my known person, Madam, sometimes wantedly they will show loss, Madam, just to evade all these things. So is there any insurance system associated
They can,
with it?
any startup company, you can insure depending on what you want to insure. So if you have product, if you have machine equipment, whatever, but insurance is not for startup failing. That insurance nobody gives you, right? That is something you have to deal with it. If a startup fails, startup cannot be given insurance. Startup has some office, you can insure the office. You can insure the machine and equipment. All right. So government gives a lot of support, and for women entrepreneurs, without security, up to 2 crores. Without security, you can get a loan for 2 crores if you show that you are a women-led enterprise. 51% women stakeholding. And to answer your next question, so many show that they are no. In Startup India, you cannot do that. You have to give your complete business thing and all, and there will be some due diligence checkup. I mean, it's done very quickly. You have to have a website, you have to have a office, registered office and all that. Once you do that, then only you are given the Startup India status. So you can't cheat. But if you are not having any profits and all up to 3 years, anyway, you don't need to pay income tax. After that, you can decide whether you want to continue or you want to close down.
Madam, can you suggest recommend a good journal, madam, in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship that accepts articles of around 15,000 words, madam? Is there any such journal in this particular field, madam?
See, I'm not sure. If you could do some entrepreneurship-based journals, you will get in Google. But if you want to know about the entrepreneurship scenario, NASSCOM has the best. NASSCOM has the best. Every year they come out with different things on startups. Then CII also comes out with Indian startups. NASSCOM, CII. Nowadays, FICCI is also coming out. FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So you can see the annual. They have some reports they come out with. NASSCOM comes out with the best reports. NASSCOM, FICCI, CII.
Okay. And that new emergency of new technologies, like I told, no, madam, ICT, telecommunications, smart.
Yeah, those are all NASSCOM.
Internet of Things. They create.
Yeah.
They create new market niches, madam, for development of innovative startups,
100%,
madam.
100%.
Okay.
Yes, 100%. Because you see, there are two ways to start up. One way to start up is that you identify a problem and you try to give a solution by making a product or a service. That's one way to start up. Second way to start up is that you see a potential. Okay, if not today, tomorrow people will want this. So you create a thing. For example, like in agribusiness, so many products came up which we were not using. I'll give you an example, like sensors, Internet of Things. Today in agriculture, you have soil tester, water testing, pH level testing. All you need to do is an Internet of Things related things. There are testers which you put on soil and everything. And in aquaculture also, in water, you put this pH level testers. The sensors will test, and through internet, it will give you a notification on your phone that the pH level has come down, and then your prawns and fishes are dying or whatever. So you have to add something to create the correct pH level. Same way in agriculture, to identify which crop will grow best here, you will use Internet of Things testers, which will test the soil type and tell you what to grow here.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. Oh, yes, madam.
Any more questions?
Thank you, madam.
Ma'am, I am from St. Joseph's Degree and PG College. I'm Dr. Anantalakshmi. Now, initially, if we wanted to start an incubation center, like we require different type of experts, as you said, legal and all. So initially, do we need fund for them? We have to pay consultancy charges for them. Is it
Yeah, so what you can do is you can create an advisory board in which you have one CA. Why company secretary? Because they will help you in registering the company which is incubating in your incubator.
Like they have to spend some time.
They will be in charge of that. Yeah. So that's why you keep them on advisory board. One chartered accountant. Why? Because they need to do financial projections of the company, whether the startup is going to get profits in first year, second year, third year, break even when. Okay. Third one, legal advisor, because they have to make agreements between founder agreement, a licensee agreement, vendor agreement, partner agreement.
Initially, like a state advisory board is sufficient for incubation center, whatever you suggested.
Advisory. Yes. So why these people you don't need to pay them. You put them on advisory board. Why? I'll tell you why. Your startups will use their services for which they will get paid.
Fine. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
So keep them in an advisory board. When the startups use their services, they will pay them. And maybe they also are paying. Yeah.
I know. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your.
You're welcome. Yeah. Any other questions? But you have to keep this network on, because otherwise they are incubating with you. They are going somewhere else. They don't find any value in the incubator then. Incubator has to have connect with all of these people. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Even a marketing guy you need to keep, because how to push this product in the market? Dealer network, market access, branding network. Sometimes you need people from branding also. And because see, if you make, again, there is a nice saying in startup world, if you make, will they come? This is also, I think, by Steve Blank. If you make, will they come? Because you made a product, will people come to buy? No. You have to push the product in the market. For that, you need market. You need branding. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Any other questions? I've overshot by 20-25 minutes, sorry.
But
But
it's
I hope.
excellent, ma'am. Very informative and excellent.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions? Then we can wind up.
Yes, madam. I think we have come to the end of the session.
Sure.
At the end, I thank my management, Jesuit management, preferably most important, our principal, Reverend Father Dr. L. DSJ, and then all my colleagues, Dr. Zakir Hussain sir, Dr. Amrita sir, would be Dr. Bijoy, Sudhakar Reddy sir, Nityanand Gaur sir, Ruparani madam, for their invisible help in conducting this program. And finally, I thank from the bottom of my heart Dr. Nandita Sethi madam, who has given us an exclusive and an excellent insight of the concept of startup, incubation and research. Madam, we all will remember this, and at the same time, the most important concept is we will try to implement it in our college level, so that at the end of the day, there will be some fruitful flowers or some good plants will be germinating from the seeds which you are sowing. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. And one statement for the students and faculty. Yes, generally, even faculty also gets excited to start up sometimes along with them. So this is an open invitation to everybody, that in case they have something idea or startup which they want to take forward, either students or faculty, anything which they want to take, you are most welcome to consult us to utilize our services. In fact, I think we are one of the few incubate accelerators who are focusing on student startups. So you're always welcome to come and seek advice or any consultancy that you may need. And thank you so much for having me here on this talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. I will also I'm also privileged to thank Rahul Deepthi, the CEO of We Have Telangana, and then Anirudh sir from We Have Telangana, and at the same time, Sanjay Sinha sir from the CEO of the task, who was at the last moment, who was very instrumental in bringing this program a grand success. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. So
thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I request all the participants to fill the feedback form, and at the same time, we have a small test which will be conducted by this college, so that at least we'll understand how far it has gone to us. So everybody please participate in this small test, so that I will be issuing the certificates. And I request you that by this month end, we will be starting this, because we have some other programs also. By this month end, we will be dispatching the certificates. Till then, please, I request you. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Leave the meetings. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.